Hey Wanderers, welcome back to part 2 of our 22-day Summer Solstice Alaska Cruise aboard the Ruby Princess. If you enjoyed the first leg of this trip, just wait. We're heading straight into the icy heart of Alaska. This stretch is all about jaw-dropping landscapes and truly soul-stirring silence. We cruised through the legendary Glacier Bay National Park, got up close with the mighty Hubbard Glacier, and drifted past that postcard perfect beauty of College Fjord. But it wasn't all scenic cruising. We did make landfall in some of Alaska's most underrated ports, starting with Valdez, where the fjords meet fishing town charm, and Seward, which is full of history and wildlife. This leg of the journey really delivered the remote, rugged, and real side of Alaska. So buckle in, because the glaciers are calving, the eagles are soaring, and the views are absolutely next level. When Captain George Vancouver first set eyes on the small 5-mile inlet that was Glacier Bay in 1794, he described it as a sheet of ice as far as the eye could distinguish. By 1850, the Hoonah Tlingit, who call the bay their ancestral homeland, traveled through the waters where the ice had retreated enough to begin exposing one of the world's most majestic wildernesses. Today we entered one of the crown jewels of Alaska, Glacier Bay National Park. And let me tell you, there's just something about waking up surrounded by mountains, mist, and that ancient ice that just hits different. As we entered the park, a team from the National Park Service boarded the Ruby Princess to give live commentary, maps, and presentations about what we were seeing. And wow, it was awesome. It was super helpful. Learning about the geology, the wildlife, and the history of this place made that whole experience more powerful. Tavia was even able to get her national parks passport stamped. We spent the day sailing through deep fjords carved by ice over thousands of years, and learning about that. We learned so much on this cruise, but understanding how the glaciers carved so many of these areas was amazing. The Marjorie Glacier was for sure the star of the show, towering electric blue, and you could hear that crackling of the calving ice off in the distance. It was absolutely magic. We bundled up, we grabbed some drinks and some snacks from the International Cafe, and we just soaked it all in from our balcony. And let me tell you, this is exactly why we say a balcony cabin is worth every penny on an Alaskan cruise. There's just nothing like experiencing Glacier Bay with no crowd, just you and the wilderness. The silence was almost holy. Throughout the day, we spotted sea otters floating by, puffins diving, and even a few distant whale spouts. The ship moved slowly, quietly, like it knew this was sacred ground. Glacier Bay isn't just a port stop. It's a sacred pause in our journey. There's no shopping, there's no excursions. It is just you and some of the most awe-inspiring natural beauty on Earth. After yesterday's peaceful glide through Glacier Bay, we thought it couldn't get any better than that. But Alaska wasn't done showing off what it has, because today we met the Hubbard Glacier. And wow, this glacier does not do subtle. To reach Hubbard, we cruised through Disenchantment Bay, which, despite the name, was anything but disappointing. We drifted past icebergs, and the water turned that surreal, almost fake-looking glacial blue, and the temperature dropped just enough to make it feel like we were heading into something. And then, boom, there it was, Hubbard Glacier, Alaska's largest tidewater glacier. This thing is massive, over 6 miles wide where it meets the sea, and towering over 350 feet tall. It felt less like a landscape and more like a wall of frozen time. Unlike the slower serenity of Glacier Bay, Hubbard was loud, it was alive, and it was active. We heard those thunder-like cracks and even witnessed as chunks of ice calved off the face and crashed into the sea. It's humbling, it's dramatic, and honestly, it gave us chills. We spent hours just watching from the top deck, from our balcony, and wherever we could get a good view. Crowds form as early as 3 a.m. to get those best viewing spots in the public areas. Thankfully, ours was from our balcony. As we sailed away, the light started to change and the ship quietly pulled back out of the bay. It was the perfect end to one of the most powerful days of this trip so far. Hubbard Glacier reminded us that nature doesn't always whisper to you. Sometimes it roars, and when it does, it's certainly unforgettable. Today we docked in Valdez, Alaska, a quiet coastal town surrounded by some of the most dramatic landscapes we've seen yet. After getting off the ship, we set off on the Meals Hill Trail. It was a quick and gorgeous escape, just steps from town next to the old historical museum. It winds through forest. There were a lot of wildflowers. We saw quite a few eagles, and it opens up at the top to just sweeping views of the bay and the cruise ship, and you could see those glacier carved peaks. You know, being on a ship of over 3,000 people, there really wasn't anyone else in sight. It seemed so untouched. And so from that top, we got this incredible perspective of the harbor and the town and that dramatic backdrop that makes Valdez feel like a little secret. And we are very honored to have been able to do this port stop because we know not a lot of itineraries come to this town. After our hike, we earned ourselves a little drinkies, and Valdez delivered. Our first stop was at Valdez Brewing Company. Then we wandered over to Glacier Bay Brewing Company, another local gem, and we absolutely loved Glacier Bay. Super relaxed vibe, really small inside, but also outdoor seating. We absolutely loved talking to the brewer, and so shout out to all our female brewers out there. It was absolutely delicious. Between the two, Valdez may be tiny, but they got some solid beer going on for them. Valdez definitely surprised us in the absolute best possible way. The scenic trail, the local beer, and just that slight slice of like authentic small town Alaska. It felt personal and real. They stopped Seward, Alaska, and wow, what a day. Nestled between the mountains and Resurrection Bay, Seward might just be the perfect combination of adventure and charm. Our big highlight was an excursion we booked through Viator with Turning Heads Kennel, a dog sledding experience and tour that was hands down one of the best things we've done on this cruise. 5 stars all around. We'll leave a link to this excursion down below. These dogs are the real deal Iditarod athletes with more personality than some people we know. We were able to get up close and personal, and we truly felt how much these dogs loved their jobs. We got to ride with them on a custom-wheeled sled through the forest trail, learning about their mushing life, and we even got the chance to snuggle with some of the pups. This was bucket list stuff, for sure. After that, we cooled off with a visit to the Alaska SeaLife Center. Part aquarium, part marine research facility. It's small but mighty, with everything from puffins and harbor seals to jellyfish and even hands-on exhibits. We got to touch a lot of sea life. It was really cool. Then it was time to, treat ourselves. We stopped by Primrose Provisions, a cozy little spot in the town with a great wine list, a good charcuterie board, and Tavia was even able to get a Denali Brewing beer to round it all out. As we made our way back to the ship, nature gave us one last surprise. There was a sea lion in the harbor tossing around a fish like it was playing with his food and taunting the seabirds trying to get at it. It was purely wild, it was hilarious, and somehow it was the perfect ending to an unforgettable day in Seward. Seward brought the magic. Dog sledding legends, underwater wonders, great food, and a little wildlife comedy to top it all off. This port had it all. Today, we hit day 14 of our 22-day Alaska cruise. And Alaska just keeps delivering. Today we cruised through College Fjord, a place so quiet, so still. It feels truly like the world presses pause for just a moment. Tucked into the northern corner of Prince William Sound, College Fjord is lined with glaciers named after Ivy League schools: Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, and more. Each one has its own shape, size, and flow, like nature's frozen honor roll. It's not the kind of place for adrenaline like Hubbard gave us. This is a day for slowing down and just taking it all in. We saw loads of sea otters drifting by on icebergs. We saw distant calving of the glaciers and that eerie, creaky sound that lets you know these giants are alive and they're moving. There's something humbling about floating through a place that's been untouched for thousands of years. College Fjord reminded us that beauty doesn't always need fanfare. Sometimes it's just quiet and it's vast and perfect. And just like that, we're heading into the final stretch of our 22-day Alaskan adventure. In part 3 of this series, we're off to the wilds of icy Strait Point, retracing gold rush history in Skagway and diving into the glaciers and adventures in Juneau before we wrap things up back in California. Trust us, you don't want to miss this grand finale. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next and final chapter of this unforgettable cruise. Don't forget to love your journey. It's the only one you've got.